Good evening, everyone. I want to welcome you to Mr. Flaherty's class. Today we're going to talk about two concepts that the Founding Fathers incorporated into our Constitution in order to ensure that we didn't relive the days of King George III and end up with right back in a situation where we were in tyranny again. So they borrowed on the ideas of a famous French philosopher, Baron de Montesquieu. And those ideas were separation of powers and checks and balances. And essentially, separation of powers means that they created three different branches of government, and they separated those powers. The executive branch was created to enforce the laws. The legislative branch was created to make the laws, and the judicial branch was created to interpret the laws. So you have three branches of government. Legislative makes laws, executive branch enforces laws, judicial branch interprets the laws, tells us what those laws mean. In addition to giving them each those specific functions, they also wanted to prevent each branch from becoming more powerful than the other branches. So they gave each branch the ability to check the power of the other branches. For instance, the legislative branch makes the laws, but the president can veto those laws. In the event that he finds that there's a law that is not in the best interest of the United States, he can veto that law. If the president and Congress both, make the law, the president signs it into law, then the judicial branch determines whether or not that law is in agreement with the Constitution. All right? Okay, so those are checks on the lawmaking ability. However, what check does the president have on the Supreme Court? Well, the Supreme Court declares laws, whether or not laws are in agreement with the Constitution. But the president appoints Supreme Court judges. So he's going to appoint Supreme Court judges that have the same political philosophy as the President of the United States. The legislative branch, more specifically the U.S. Senate, ratifies Supreme Court judges. So the president appoints them, the U.S. Senate ratifies those appointments, approves those appointments. So there you have, in short, two concepts that were created by the president, by the Founding Fathers, to ensure that our government did not fall into a state of tyranny, to make sure that the powers of government were indeed separated, and that no one branch tried to become more powerful or take control of the government.